Hello, hello. Happy July 4th. It's me again. I'm here for my 25th live. I'm almost at the end. So please join me in taking a deep, long breath in, and letting it out. And a deep, long breath in and out. And one more time. So hello, hello. I don't know how many people will be here live since it is July 4th, but it's 11:21. So I'm within my parameters of day 25. I'm 40 minutes, just making it by 40 minutes. So I was just sitting with what would be the highest and best to share, and I was asking for guidance. And a few things came through, so let's see how it comes out. I hope that everyone is enjoying their day, whether or not you celebrate. And I hope that if you have animals who are sensitive to the loud sounds, that you are taking good care of them by using either lavender or rescue remedy, and just giving them a safe space to just be with all the loud sounds. So today was an interesting day. It was a busy day. I had a meeting, and then I got to connect with my grandma. So if you follow me on here, you'll see in my stories that I got to visit my grandma today, which is very special to me, our time together. I cherish the moments that we have together, and yeah, she's such a beautiful soul, and my grandma is a strong and resilient woman who has always been kind of soft on the outside, but she's strong. She's strong, but she has a big heart. And my grandma has this capability to give unconditional love, which is not common in the human race. And I know that we strive for it, but my grandma seems to do it naturally for some reason. So I'm sitting on my ball chair, by the way. So it keeps rolling forward, and I'm trying to fix it. So anyway, I got to see my grandma today, and I just felt really connected with her. It's so nice because, we don't always know when we're making a difference for people. I know I have found out where I've made a difference for people like months and years later, ways that I never knew. And but with my grandma, I can see from the time I get there till the time I leave, her face looks different. The way she looks at me, her eyes look different. And so our connection is very meaningful. And so it was really beautiful. But why I would share that here is that I saw a really cool reel, and they talked, I posted it in my stories, where they talked about people who have been on the earth for a really long time, and if they approach their life in a certain way, where they've lived through lots of things, not all pleasant, and come out of it with deeper wisdom, it emanates from their energy field, and younger people want to be around them. And my grandma has that. And so, yeah, even like some of she lives in a facility where they help the elderly people, and some of the ladies who work there will come by and, hey cutie, and so it's so sweet. And so if you're lucky enough to have somebody that's older than you in your life, like, pay attention, ask them stories, and you can really gain a lot. And they also receive so much from telling their stories and being asked to remember. Like today, I was asking my grandma a lot about grandpa, and I wanted to hear what she's remembering lately. Does she dream about him? And so she was sharing a few things that were very, very sweet, and it just helped me have that connection and learn her more. There's always more to learn about the people that you love, and especially the people that have been around for a really long time. They have lots of interesting things to say if you ask them the right questions, and you are patient enough to receive the answer. And so there was that. And then I had plans to go to a friend's house. She was having a small get together, and just a few hours before, she was not feeling well and canceled. So I was like, first of all, I felt so sorry for her that she wasn't feeling well, and then I felt like, I really feel like peopling today. I was bummed because there are a lot of times where I don't get FOMO, and I just want to be in my own space, and I'm very happy to be in my own space a lot of the time. But today, I wanted to be out. I wanted to be with people and perhaps see fireworks. But the more important thing to me was to be around people. And but after that cancellation, nothing else was really coming through, and I decided to, Felice, you know that when you push for anything that you desire, when you push, it pushes it away, right? So when we try too hard, it's like it has the opposite effect. So in life, it's very interesting. If you want something, if you desire something, yes, you want to think about it, you want to believe it, and you want to take action towards it. And also, then you get to pause and allow for things to fall into place. So, and then I just decided, as I was in my place, just kind of doing a few things and trying to catch up on things, and then I was like, you know what, if nothing else works out, then I'm gonna just be okay with it. And I'm leaving tomorrow for 10 days. So I was like, I have a lot of packing to do. I was hardly unpacked from last week, and so I was like, let me just get organized. And so I got surrendered and into my project of just organizing, and I've always been the type of person that I am much happier when things are organized, when things are put together. So as I started doing that and really letting go of whatever else was going on, something new came through, and another sister had an invite, and that was so sweet. And so I got to get to know a new sister, and hang out with some of the people that I already knew, but just get to spend more time with them. These are beautiful souls, sweet people, wise people, and loving people. So it was really nice to be around that. And we were a little far from the fireworks, so we didn't actually see. Well, actually, we saw a tiny bit of fireworks. But the thing was, that wasn't even my biggest priority. My biggest priority was connection. So I always like to set an intention whenever I go, pretty much everywhere. So my number one intention was connection, which is what I received. And so that was really sweet and awesome. And so it was also just a nice reminder that when you surrender and let go, that's when things flow. Right? So even when you want something, especially if you want something so much, the more that you want it so much is the more that you actually push it away. It's like the oxymoron of life. So you can put your energy out, and then you have to just let it go. So that's what happened to me. And so it was really nice to just practice what I teach and then watch it come through and with ease and grace. And it just so happened that this get together was a lot closer to where I live than the other one, so that was a nice perk also. So it worked out perfectly, very happy. And so that's what happened there. And what else did I want to share about? Yes. So I've been talking with a lot of people that are going through some heavier things. And so I've shared little bits that I'm also processing something. And I will say that the emotion that I'm processing is grief. So, well, grief, I don't know, is it an emotion? It's really a process. Grief is a process. So I'm in the process of grief. And I did see a video today that was really potent, and I had never thought about grief in this way. And so this is not my idea, but I will share it because I thought it was valuable. And it basically said that sometimes in order to choose our peace, we must choose grief because we're letting go. I'll say it one more time to let it sink in. Sometimes when we are choosing peace, we must choose grief because we're letting go. So almost always when we let go of something, we will experience some sort of grief, even if it's a choice, because it's bringing us peace. Hey, Lauren, love that. Yes, I love that too, right? It was so wise. And so I know a lot of times those of you out there that have had to let go of people that you love, or I'll cancel the had part. You chose to let go of somebody that you love because the mending wasn't happening, right? The repair wasn't happening. It doesn't mean that you're not going to feel sad. Sometimes when you let go of something, it's like, woof, thank God, you feel relief. And then, but other times it's not. And then sometimes it's a combination of both, right? So if you're having a situation where there's something happening negative that it's on repeat, then you will definitely feel relief too. So, but grief is a whole ensemble of things. And so, but I wanted to share that wisdom because it can be confusing when you're choosing to let go. There can be also feelings of grief and shame that you feel like you are bad, that you've done something bad because you're letting go. But taking care of yourself is not bad, right? Self-care is a necessity. It's not a luxury in life. Self-care is not selfish, no matter what anybody has ever told you about it. And if they told you that self-care was selfish, it's because they don't do it for themselves. So, and even if you are practicing self-care, you still might have remnants of that old story coming in, twinkling in from the back door. Even if you feel a twinkling of guilt or shame, stay with it. Continue to take care of yourself anyway. Ask yourself the right questions so that the wisdom comes through. Be willing to be wrong and be willing to take care of yourself. And so, when I was in session with one of my clients, what came through to me was to tell her about the Japanese art form. And I wrote it down because I always forget the name of it. I always remember what it is. It's kintsukuroi. So it's kintsukuroi. Kintsukuroi. Forgive me if I'm pronouncing it incorrectly. What it is the art of, if you see a pot that's been broken and they fill the cracks with gold. So the idea, the concept behind it is that that you're more beautiful for having been broken. So I look at my grandma today, and I look into her eyes, and when I got there at first, she was kind of foggy, and the air conditioning broke in the place, and she wasn't even hot. God bless my grandma. She had short sleeve sweater on with a jacket over it. I'm like, are you hot? And No, I'm fine. She's fine. Um, but I knew she was like a little foggy. Got her water, and we went outside because they have a breezeway, which hence the name. It creates a breeze, even in this Florida heat, which was really nice. It was actually cooler in the breezeway than it was inside. And I'm digressing, so let me come back. So, kintsukuroi, having being more beautiful for having been broken. So obviously, my grandma's been around a long time, 47 more years than me, and I see her as so beautiful. When I when I first saw her, I almost started crying right away. It wasn't out of sadness at all. It was just like, my grandma was brought up in a time where they weren't allowed to share their feelings openly. And like my grandma once said to me, Felice, we didn't have Oprah. And it was really cute because she was sharing, basically telling me, like, we didn't get to talk about, we didn't even think to talk about the things that we talk about today. So the conversations that I bring in, has cracked her heart open over and over again. I've brought her to tears, happy tears, sad tears sometimes. But we get to have these conversations. Even though she doesn't study what I do, she's open to me chatting about it, and I think she respects me for it, which is sweet. And so I looked at her today, and I thought of the art kintsukuroi, right? Being more beautiful for having been broken. She's so beautiful. I mean, her body isn't doing all the things that she would like it to do these days, and that's so hard. And she still just goes, and she's has opinions, and she gives me wisdom. So she asked me it's interesting. She's still highly intuitive. She asked me about someone today that was a very sensitive subject for me right now. And I was just like, of course she's going to ask me that. She doesn't even know she's doing it. Like, those of you out there, have you ever asked somebody something where somebody was like, oh, like, we're all, channeling is available for all of us. Just some of us do it a little more often. So and then the wisdom that comes out of her when I share. And it was so sweet because I'm there to support her, to give her love, to get her outside and, show her, that I think of her and that, I wish I could be there more. But the idea is that I'm there for her. And then she starts saying things that actually support me. And there's this beautiful exchange. And then, she's telling me, I'm so proud of you. And I'm like, I'm so proud of you. And it's just so beautiful to be able to share those emotions and those words, right? Yesterday I talked about the the love languages, right? And so words of affirmation is one of the love languages. And I guess I don't remember what my highest ones are. I think that's up there for me. And, well, it's up there definitely for me. Saying beautiful words of affirmation are so important. Are so important. And so, yeah, so I thought about that Japanese art form when I was looking at my grandma. And I'm bringing it up here because some of you have grandparents where perhaps if you do have grandparents or parents that you're close with, ask them questions about their lives. Ask them about their spouses, or ask them about all the things that you didn't think of to ask, because the stories are there and it makes them happy to talk about it, and it builds intimacy, and you will learn something, and it's really beautiful. Boy, is this annoying when I start to lose my train of thought. I start going out there and then but yeah. Oh, so, and can you look at the people that are more experienced in your life through the eyes of kintsukuroi, the Japanese art form, and see them as more beautiful for being broken? And can you look in the mirror, especially those of you that are over age 25, let's say, right? But a lot of us experienced a lot of stuff even before age 15. And I invite you to look in the mirror, and regardless of how conventional beauty you think you have, can you really look at your beauty? I don't love the word having been broken, right? Just like I don't love the word saying that there's a, what do they call it? I'm blanking out on the words. But anyway, let's use the word broken loosely, because we're not broken. We're just experienced with things that brought pleasure and things that brought pain. And we have breakdowns, and then we have breakthroughs. And so, can you look in the mirror and really just breathe, right? There's a technique called eye gazing, which I have all of my clients do. So eye gazing means that you go in the mirror and you set your timer so that you don't have to think about how long it is. You set the timer for a short time, 30 seconds, 1 minute. And you look in your eyes, and you look at your pupils, and then you look at the iris, and you look at all the details of your eyes, and you really look at yourself. And in the theme of tonight of having been more beautiful for being broken, like the Japanese art kintsukuroi, you look in the mirror, and can you see your beauty and see what you stood back up again after that thing, and after that other thing you stood back up again, and after the other thing you stood back up again, and when you didn't feel like standing up again, you might have laid down, but then you stood up again, right? That's I think it's another Japanese term, fall down 7, get up 8, fall down 7, get up 8. And so, and in the getting up is where not only the strength is, it's where the beauty is, and it's where the joy is, and where you can actually look around and have that quiet confidence, right? I meet people, right? I meet people in gatherings, sometimes new people, and right away they want to know, what do you do? This is what I do. And they like to explain why they're worthy sometimes is what it seems like. And so it's really nice to just sit back and listen and notice their passion about what they do and all the things. And it's also nice to not feel like you have to, or I'll speak for myself, it's nice to not feel like I have to go ahead and list all the things that I've accomplished right back to say that I'm worthy. I'm just listening to you, and I'm looking at you, and I'm feeling your vibration, and I'm here, present, and that makes me worthy. What makes me worthy is God has me wake up every day, right? Because there have been days where I'm like, why am I here? Because I feel like I might be better off, in the light where I can maybe do more good. But that passes, and then I realize why I'm here. And then somebody will tell me how I made a difference. And I'm like, wow, if I wasn't here, I wouldn't have been able to do that for them. And so, have it be more beautiful. So look at your beauty for the things that broke you, right? The things that broke you, whether it was a breakup or some sort of loss or illness, betrayal, abandonment of other people, maybe up to, even to yourself. And, thank you, honey. Lauren wrote, you definitely make a difference. Thank you. Thank you, honey. See, and the thing is, too, so we look at ourselves in this theme of kintsukuroi, being more beautiful for having been broken, right? So it's the pot that's cracked, and they fill it with gold, right? This is a Japanese art form. They fill it with gold, and it's considered more beautiful than just plain art. And if you Google it, you'll see how much beautiful art there is in this art form. And next level of embodiment, next level of self-esteem and self-confidence is in the family of radical self-love, like really loving yourself, like through everything, loving yourself through everything, and then not needing the compliments or the validation, like knowing who you are, and having a deeper connection with source, that the compliments are very nice and they don't make you. And the insults, the betrayals, the abandonments, the misunderstandings, they don't feel good, but they're not going to break you, right? And so the work is to keep expanding your vibration, expanding your heart energy, so that what happens outside of you doesn't knock you off your path. You may fall down for a second. That's okay. And so, and when you get back up, and maybe you get to the point of having forgiveness and understanding, and also really owning your part in things. I know there have been things that I thought the other person was so, in the wrong, or so not awake. And you'll hear that a lot in the spiritual community, right? Like, well, they're not doing this work, and they're not aware, they're not awake. And even if that is true, there are sometimes parts that are just in our blind spot until they're not. So, but if we can look at those parts of ourselves as the parts that were growing, the parts that needed love, and we can come back to the beauty of that. It's like if you have a 4-year-old who did something bad at school, are you going to make them a bad kid for the rest of their life? Or are you going to let them know how worthy they are, how beautiful they are, and how smart they are, and they also made a mistake and they get to take ownership of it? Maybe they need to apologize to somebody. And so, that's the beauty of being a parent. So you get to do that for your kids, so that they learn how to self-resource and do that for themselves. Those of us that didn't have so much of that as a kid, we get to reparent ourselves. So everybody has a chance to live in this way, in this loving way. And if you're lucky enough to become more and more aware, you start to attract people that are on the same path as you are. And when that happens, it makes this easier to do. Number one, it also makes it normal. It makes it normal, so that you can do this work so easily and openly, and there's no judgment. So today, I know, is July 4th, and it's the day of freedom. Well, July 4th represents freedom, and then as we learn more or become more awake, we know that the freedom that was created in this country, took away the freedoms of some groups of people. And so there's a both and feeling today, right? We're a celebration, because even with all the things going on in this country, it's still one of the best places to be. And also there's grief and sadness for what happened to people who didn't deserve it. And our country probably would have been better off if we incorporated the people who were already living here with the wisdom that they had from generation after generation. But with that being said, the point that I'm trying to make is that it's a celebratory day and also a day of grief, right? So we have both and. So you could apply that to your life. So perhaps you're going through grief, and then you can also have a giggle fest. You can also dance. You can also connect with nature and be in appreciation, So you can have both and, right? Grief lasts pretty much a lifetime. It changes form, right? If you've been watching me, because we're on day 25, so 25 out of 30, you already know that my mom passed away a long, long time ago. So I was young, and she was young. And so there's still waves of grief. This is 20, I can't do the math in my head. Wait. Oh. So 21 years ago, right? So there's still grief 21 years later. And 21 years from now, there'll still be grief, right? But grief changes form. Grief changes intensity, especially when you don't just stuff the grief, right? If you stuff the grief, then, energy, we talked about this already. Energy just changes form. So we want to keep moving it through our body. And so, hey, Ken, whoops. So the grief is always there, but grief changes form. And if you work with it, there's so much love and wisdom that come from it, and gratitude, right? Like, I would have never predicted when I was 22 that I would have any sort of love and reverence and maybe respect for my mother, right? Because if you knew me back then, you knew all the list of happenings that had happened between us. And so that didn't I never thought that I would feel so deeply. But as time has passed, and we had a reconnection, and then she passed away, and I never thought that the grief would be there, and it was. But the idea is that there's both ands, right? So there's grief, that we live with grief, right? We don't just get over grief, we live with grief. But then we get to expand, and just like that Japanese art form that I was talking about, kintsukuroi, when the heart breaks, it breaks open, right? So it's the same idea as being more beautiful for having been broken. And again, I don't love the word broken, but it just means you're broken open, right? So when your heart breaks, it breaks open. I've had some of the most cathartic, dare I say, orgasmic cries from breaking up with the men that I've loved in my life, right? Like knowing that they were not my person, that something wasn't right, and also I loved them, and the grief was there. So you can have both and there's something nice about that, because then you're not pigeonholed in something that doesn't feel good, and you have the freedom to feel the full range of whatever it is that you're feeling. And so today, on this day of, I guess I've spoken about a few things now. I've spoken about wisdom in your elders, and really like seeing them and asking them stories. I've talked about surrender and letting go and allowing something better to manifest, right? And if you are just signing on, thank you for being here, and you can check out the beginning of the video for that. But and then I talked about kintsukuroi, the Japanese art of filling the cracks with gold and being more beautiful for having been broken. And then I talked about the concept of both and. So if you're going through a phase that is a season that is challenging and difficult for some reason, whether it is grief, whether it is anger, whether it is waking up to something not working, or whether it's a health challenge or a job challenge, let your heart break open. Let your heart break open. Do the ugly cry. And then also both and. Celebrate our freedom. Celebrate something about you in your life that is working well. I know for me, I'm celebrating new friends that I have that are doing the same kind of work as me, and it feels in alignment. It feels really good. I like being in a space where it's non-judgmental, and we could talk about concepts that just feel in alignment and don't have to explain it. And so we can be a conscious creator, right? So And tomorrow, I'll talk more about that. Tomorrow's the new moon. So if you're looking to manifest, you can tune in tomorrow. I'm going to talk about that. And yeah, I think I'm going to sign off. It's 11:55, so we're just about done with this day. So this was day 25 out of 30 lives in 30 days as per the guidance of my highest self and my guides. So I hope it served you. Please do comment and let me know how this touched you. If you want me to expand on any of these concepts. And I know that I haven't put out my summer offers yet because I've been tweaking them. So please be patient. I'll probably be posting it next week. So if you have any questions, please send me a note. And just sending so much love. Be safe tonight. And look in the mirror and just give yourself a big kiss. Sending love.